everybody. I'm Kim Tolson. I think most of you probably got signed up with this webinar through my email list, so you probably are already somewhat familiar with me. Um, I'm excited today. Mike Enzer is here with us. He's with Thera PPC. I personally have worked with Mike myself, and he was showing me this amazing tool to help understand ad spend and marketing and all of that stuff. And I was like, Mike, we've got to share this with my email list, with my audience. Just give them this tool, help them understand marketing dollars, all of that. So Mike was like, let's do it. So that's why we decided to host this free webinar. I'm really excited to share this with you guys. Take the information we're going to talk about today and apply it to your practice. So does that about cover it, Mike?
It absolutely does. Thank you very much, Kim, for the introduction. Wanted to give a shout out to Kim for having amazing content all the time.
Oh,
And I really
you.
appreciate your invitation. And
Thank you.
wanted to give a shout out to Chris Morin as well from Moonraker. He's one of the reasons why I'm on this call as well. He'll be in the comments answering anybody's questions. So please feel free to engage, unmute your mic, talk. This is a back and forth type of webinar. It's not just a sit and get talked at. We're going to be able to go through anyone's numbers who wants to jump in and ask any questions about what it costs to help people heal. So let me jump right in. And the format, can you see my screen, everyone?
I can, yes.
All right, great. So the format for this is what you might see familiar as a spreadsheet. And the reason being is that it's a little bit of math with a little bit of explanation. It's easier to explain other people's individual scenarios when we can say, hey, how many patients do you have? 15 or 150. So it's really a fun experiment. So again, feel free to jump into the comments if you have any questions. If you want to post your numbers, go ahead and let me know. I also wanted to thank you for your time. Time is extremely valuable, and I hope that this time together is going to inspire you to grow your practice to new levels. The goal of this is to discuss client acquisition, the practice's impact from those clients that you acquire, and how to manage growth solutions in order to keep that cycle going for you to hit your goal and also exceed where you think that you could take your practice and your business. Some of the numbers we'll be covering on this call. So if you have any of these ready, if not, it's okay. If you have them top of mind, remember, you don't have to have these numbers. It's okay, because you'll be able to see everybody else's and get an idea of frame of reference for your own. What we'll be going through is how many new leads you get per month currently, the close rate for those leads, AKA when you have calls with them, when they request your services, how many of those clients end up signing up, as well as churn rate, which is a newer concept for some. And this is how many clients do you lose each month? It's inevitable, especially if you do a really good job, that eventually clients you may lose. So this happens in all practices. So understanding this is really important. Likewise with marketing strategy, what you're already spending on marketing to get the results that you're getting today, and what your website conversion rate is. This is one of the numbers. I know Kevin has some other numbers that we can play with as well, so we might be able to do some live predictions, but this is a number. How many people visit your website, and then how many people fill out a form or put in a call? Topics we'll be covering is how much you should be paying to get new clients, and to make sure that you're not wasting any money on marketing, that you are adding additional services to generate additional income. And I'll get more into that later, as well as breaking through any type of growth ceiling or plateau that you have, which is very common in different stages as you build your practice, and making sure that as you build your practice, you're improving your work-life balance and not just adding more to your plate. And doing all this also increases your network referrals through a few of the methods that are stacked in this list. Now, if you stay to the end, I have some bonus offers for you. First, you get this webinar for free, of course, because Kim is very nice. Also, we're going to be doing a new therapist marketing intensive, and I'll go into more details at the end of that, but that's going to effectively help you get to wherever you need to be with your marketing. And then also for those who are already seasoned in marketing and looking to get to the next level, we're going to be offering an extremely big discount just for anybody who's attended this webinar, because we want to see how much we can help as fast as possible before the end of the year. So with that being said, let's get started. So this entire table is built off of numbers and questions, and they're going to go over things like team members, your target weekly caseload, caseload by services, and a bunch of other step-by-step items. And at the very end of this, what you're going to see is that you're going to have a growth timeline that's going to show you exactly how long it's going to take you to hit whatever goal it is that you're after with your current operation. And then what it looks like to add marketing after that is the next piece. Before I get any further, can I see some F's in the chat? If you have any of those numbers that we had discussed, any of those numbers here at all, let me see some F's in the chat. And if you don't, let me see a T, letter T. If you don't have these numbers, it's okay. I want to see if anybody is bringing any numbers to the table or not before we start the exercise. All right, we have Catherine Marsh. We have Leo. So we have a couple people with a couple different numbers. What I like to do is start with an individual therapist. If anybody in the chat is just an individual therapist, a solo practitioner, only taking care of your client caseload, go ahead and type in the letter Michael, please. Great name, by the way.
I think it's Mikhail, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Am I on? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, it's very early in the morning for me, so I still have the luxury to stay on. I just wanted to ask, like, I went with a therapist marketing company and I spent almost $4,000 on Facebook ads and it was a total failure.
Mhm.
And so I just am now I'm like researching, like, do I do Google ads? Do I try Facebook ads with a different person, or do I try ads on Reddit? And like, I just wondered what your thoughts are on that, and like how to like, I'm realizing that as an entrepreneur, you have to just like try some things and like sit with the loss when it doesn't work and then keep going.
Great
Well,
question.
first of all, sorry to hear that happened. I don't know if you've ever heard the statistic or not, but I think it's like 93% of people who have advertised on Facebook never got an ROI. And the reason being is that Facebook
No,
is
I've
like,
never heard that statistic before, but that makes me feel better.
right. And it's not just that, it's not just because of that, it's because Facebook's advertising, I guess you could call it like a vehicle, it's meant to be able to access easily, like boost a post type of a practice. It does nothing for the business, but it does give Facebook money. That's actually why Facebook is as big as it is now, is that whole advertising shenanigan. But with that being said, let's break down the numbers. And this would be a great example of what can happen more in the mastermind. So I'll give a quick demo here. So you spent $4,000 on Facebook ads, correct?
About that, yeah, I was doing $45 a day for about 4 months.
Okay. Monthly budget of 1,000. What's your current monthly revenue?
It's between 8 and 9,000 a month.
Facebook monthly budget. What was your total marketing budget? Do you have that by any chance? I know it's on the spot. Everyone's like, I mean, look for me. I'm
Well,
like,
I guess I'd say like I'm on a number of directories, so probably another $350 in addition to the spends on the ads. Maybe.
so your total monthly marketing budget was about 1,500.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. My spreadsheet colors. So you're spending about 15 to 20% of your monthly revenue on ads. Does that sound about right?
Yes. And like, yeah. And zero, like, and the interesting thing for me is like, none of what I'm spending is what's bringing in my clients right now.
That's a problem worth solving. So how are you getting your clients?
A doctor that I used to work with is a great referral source, but like I only take insurance for people that live in Hawaii, and so like most of the people he refers do want to use insurance, and I'm saying no to a lot. And then just being in a WhatsApp chat group for like psychedelic Jews is actually been a great referral source. Just then that's free.
Well,
Yeah, so those are where like the main people that actually stick with me are coming from, those places. And just what I'm spending on my marketing isn't bringing in anything.
So one thing that is interesting about pursuing wellness and therapist is that active pursuit. And that all starts with awareness and then intention. Like I want to feel better. When you have intention, there's two different types. One is passive and one is direct. So a passive intention to seek a therapist could be when you're feeling bad and you have those searches in your search history, looking for those blogs, looking for help, things of that nature, and you exhibiting signs of that type of behavior to where someone could target you with an ad. They could target you on social media, as an example, Facebook. Facebook is not a place that if you, as an example, let me ask you this. If your toilet exploded, where would you go to find a plumber?
Google.
Exactly. You wouldn't go to Facebook because Facebook is where you go to look at, whatever people look at on Facebook these days. I try to avoid it, to be honest. I do it for work, so I try to avoid it in my personal life. As far as direct, people go to Google, right? There's two different sides of Google. There's Google. Okay. Can I capital? Google Ads. And there is SEO. So when it comes to investing in advertising, there's also budgeting, right? So if you're trying to do budgeting for advertising, first thing you want to do is go for free and then for affordable and then pay for a premium. If your core sources are, as you said, referral and WhatsApp, you're killing it on the free side. What can you do to maximize that? Can you join more WhatsApp groups? Can you hire a VA that can help you manage your WhatsApp business account and respond to messages and do booking for you? What are the things that you can do with this bucket to maximize this? Because the only other route you have to take is leaning into the, right? The thing that occurred, and I totally feel your pain because it's a very common trap in marketing. And I say trap, I feel like tourist trap, like you're driving down the road and all of a sudden there's like a big sombrero and it's like, I got to eat there. The trap in marketing is you need to pay for a premium. And it's not true. It's not true at all. The reality is you got to maximize your buckets on this ladder, and not everybody can capitalize like you are. You obviously have a very interesting and unique niche. Capitalize on that and do everything you can to just build your entire business from this, because you don't need this at all if you can just dig deeper into the WhatsApp and the referral. I know you said you had one doctor. What would it look like if you had two or three? You had two core WhatsApp groups. What if you had 5 or 10 and a VA managing? That's really how you can expand and keep your client book full. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense because I've said to myself, I just need to connect with doctors in other states that I'm licensed in. But then I get this, I feel like approaching doctors where I don't live in the state, I feel predatory doing it because it's not like I have clients that I can say I'm going to refer to them right away. And that's been like holding me back. But like I've said to myself, wow, doctor referrals. It's so when I get a referral from the doctor here, it's like everyone wants to work with me. And it's more like me saying, I don't want to work with, I don't tell them the reason is, but I don't want to keep filling my practice with insurance.
And Mike, could I add a quick note about that? Yeah, I wanted to respond to what you just said about the fear of, asking something from, I don't have value to provide back to that. It's something that I've experienced in agency as well. We don't have a huge list of people to connect you to, but we want to connect with your audience, and everybody needs the value of professionals. And if you can't connect with a doctor that needs the support of your services to then better serve their clients, then that is of value to them. And so I would just resist the idea that you don't have anything to offer, because just the fact that you're doing this work, if there's a true need for somebody else to send people your way, then that automatically is value. It doesn't need to come in the form of, well, I'm going to give you people back directly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great like way to look at it.
Yeah. So I think it's just another version of the trap of imposter syndrome. Like, well, I'm not at the same level as them. I don't have the ability to give them direct clientele. Well, serving their clientele better and them having great referral network to send people to makes them look good and helps them to do better work. And so, that's the idea, that you don't have to have the exact equal type of thing to deliver back to them. You can still just provide a lot of value by doing the work that you do. And there's a lot of people that are probably in a situation like, shoot, I don't know somebody to send this client to. And then you show up and you say, this is my niche, this is what I do. And they say, oh, amazing. 3 people that are asking for this and I didn't know what to do. I felt like I was underserving them because of that. And I have a solution. So
that's like a game changer for me to look at it from that perspective.
Cool.
Love to hear that.
Very cool. Yeah, me too.
Anyone else have
That's
any
cool.
questions? Numbers,
What you're doing?
You're talking to an advertising guy that's also a financial analyst, so I can dig into anything you want.
just wanted to expand very briefly on the whole idea of referrals, given that that is the most budget avenue here. If somebody already has them, like a WhatsApp group or doctor referrals, that's amazing. And you had said, Michal, is that how you pronounce it? You had said, well, I feel a little strange reaching to people in other states and things like that because I can only take insurance in this one particular place. Just as a general rule of thumb, especially if you haven't done outbound marketing, like emailing people that don't know you and things like that, it feels strange no matter what. That's just, it's just a thing that feels strange until you get into the habit of doing it. But there's a lot of other people that do that. And Mike had mentioned, well, if you were in 10 WhatsApp groups and you had a virtual assistant managing the communication process for you, another really great thing that a virtual assistant can do is doing outbound marketing on your behalf, sending messages to people that you believe are qualified to send referrals to you based on some research. Like that's a pretty simple process to train someone to do. I provide these services. I'm targeting these types of people. Please send this templated email on my behalf and let's hit 10 people a day. And then just continue to do that every week. And it's a numbers game. If you send 100 emails a week to 100 different doctors, eventually, based on the timing or a fit, somebody is going to respond and that's going to start a conversation and there's be opportunities. That's exactly how we got on this call. Reached out to Kim. This is what we do. We are in this space. We would love to connect with you. And here we are. So
that's really a great idea. I love that.
I have another thing about community in general. So the investment in channels like this, and almost every channel is free. So daps to you to get involved because all you need to do is manage it yourself. So self-managed or DIY. As far as affordable goes, hiring a virtual assistant to manage it is very affordable. And it gives you your time back to focus on expansion. The things that you can't have a VA do are what you need to focus on. Premium, in this instance, would be like a CRM and automation because WhatsApp syncs to CRMs. So if you have a WhatsApp business account in the chat, you can make a business account seem like a normal personal account, and WhatsApp, there's plenty of people in those WhatsApp chats that have business and personal accounts. But if it's a business account, then anybody that you engage with, it can all be managed through a CRM and automated. So if somebody reaches out to you, you can have it automatically respond to book an appointment, or if somebody has any questions, you could have the CRM use AI to just kind of answer their questions and offer to schedule a discovery call with them. And that would be something that you can lean into as you scale. And the benefit of thinking about it like this is that you don't need to do this until you have the luxury of knowing it's like, I feel like comfortable enough hiring a VA at your monthly revenue. I highly recommend do you have an admin already?
No.
It's time. And this takes practice. So it's not like, for a lot of people, it's not snap your fingers and you immediately make a carbon copy of yourself, like that episode of Black Mirror. It's more like, it takes a couple, it's like matchmaking. You kind of have to find the person that you vibe with, that kind of reads your mind for you and things of that nature. And, this is huge because one thing about impact is that you can always enhance it and amplify it when you have more time to do the things that you can't get to today. And if you're doing all the work yourself and you're not delegating that, then it's really difficult to get ahead. And it's contrarian thinking too, especially if you get into this on your own. Most people's ambition was to get into it on their own. They didn't set their sights too far past that. And that's really what we're trying to accomplish. And I don't know if that idea of this resonated with you, but the idea of legacy assets is that it can reach the entire world. And I'm not 100% sure, but based off of what the brief amount of information you shared about your WhatsApp community, there's probably a global reach community for you out there. And those are things that you could sell. Like say, it's like, hey, I have a PDF 8-page guide on how to handle X, Y, and Z in X amount of days. It costs $100, but I'll sell it to you for $7, $9, whatever the cause is, or give it away for free. You're going to build your legacy by distributing that information that beyond you and beyond your border. And also it gives you an opportunity to monetize all of the investment that you did with your career, all the licenses that you have, all the work that you put in, and all the clients you've already served. That's worth money. So don't imposter syndrome about that part of the value either. This isn't stuff that you have to give away for free. A lot of people are here today because of Kim, and she has amazing programs that cost a fraction of the return on investment that they provide. And that is how a lot of people could feel about your assets that you could create and that you could provide to your community and beyond.
And I guess this is where it's important to run those numbers, right, Mike, to know like, what is my spend? Like, what would my spend be cost per client? And then she could like allocate that to a VA or whatever, recommendations are the best for her specific situation. Right.
So like a VA as an example, say a VA that you hire, which is called $10 ethically, because I like to, even if they're in places that people can pay $3 to $5 an hour, I still try to pay more than average just because I can, and I just try to. Yeah. This is complete discretion. So hourly rate, you say you probably want them to check your WhatsApp, 2 to 4 times a day. So call it 2 hours. Let me get my numbers right, because on my 1 second. Daily, 2 hours a day. That's times 4. It's 400 a month. I don't know why I'm having an issue.
I wouldn't even know how to set a formula in there, so that's pretty good.
So, how much do you charge per session?
Me, I'd like to charge $250. Right now, I'm only really getting $200 with the few private pay people I have, but my goal is $250.
And what's your frequency? Like how many times a month?
As private pay people, I mean, usually I'm getting $119 for the majority of my sessions, and I'm doing about 20 sessions a week. So I'd say that's and the 200s are very few and far between.
And how many new inquiries did you get last month?
A lot from the ads, and none of them. No, it's like no one could pay my fee, or they're just really sick people. So, like none of them
weren't
are
good
really
referrals.
converting. Yeah.
Interesting. So how many total?
I mean, maybe 20. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Like last month, maybe it was 8 leads, and none of them.
Okay. What's your average? So let's say you got in 30 leads in the past 90 days. How many signed up in the past 90 days?
Probably 25%.
Okay. Let's just call that. And you do the sessions for 119 or that's after insurance?
That's the insurance rate.
Okay. So with that being said, you have a 25% close rate. That's your average cost per session. Your total budget. So let's look at your total monthly ad spend from what numbers you gave me. And get your total cost per lead. We'll do just last month. So you had 8 total, right?
Yeah. Painful, this number.
I know. The best part about it is that it's a solvable problem. It's a solvable problem. These are important numbers to look at because you don't look at them often because they suck and they're painful. It's like, it feels like paying taxes, but like optional, because you don't have to do these numbers. They just help your business. So as far as your close rate and your cost per lead, it looks like, just based off of these numbers from last month, and this is only because you invested that amount in Facebook, which if we strip that 1,000 off because it didn't produce anything, the cost per lead goes down drastically. So again, don't feel too bad because that's not a terrible cost per lead. This is probably the number that I would base this next equation off of. But really what I'm looking at is how much do I have to spend to lock in a client? If you're spending $62 per lead at a close rate of 25%, it costs you $250 to get a client, meaning that you're only net profit positive on that client after 3 sessions.
Mm.
So there's a few things that you can look at here. Definitely cut the Facebook spend for now, because if they're not producing for you, it's just a lesson learned. You have a decent amount of income coming in for a solo practitioner because of your rate and your frequency and your amount of clients and your niche and your fact that you don't have extra overhead because of the WhatsApp group. So you're in a good position to get right back on track. You're not going to have to go through this lull of trying to figure out what's next. So with that being said, main things that you want to do to knock that cost down, definitely cut back on the Facebook spend. Next thing I was going to ask is, that would leave you a $500 budget. Does that include all your directories?
Yeah, the directories are probably around $300.
Directories are about $300 total. That would actually bring it up.
Or maybe even a little bit less. Yeah, right now it's a little bit less. It's like 75, almost. Yeah, that's like maybe it's around 175 for the directories.
So between WhatsApp.
Sorry, I have ADHD and my numbers and me don't always go well together.
I get it.
As you can tell, that's my specialty, is throwing random numbers into a spreadsheet. So with that being said, that would be your actual cost per lead. Combined with Facebook and no results, it's going to spike your cost per lead. But then again, we also understand that Facebook is more of a passive source than a direct source. So let's say we were to do this and you never ran Google Ads before. Is that correct?
Correct.
Perfect. So let's do a little Google Ads exercise. Let's say your monthly budget at Google Ads was $1,000. That would mean that you have a daily budget of $33. With that daily budget, let's spend that. How do we spend that? We have to get clicks on the ads. That's how they charge, right? And it's a cost per click. With that cost per click, let's just call it $5 for now for the exercise. So what that means is that you're going to get, as you guys have seen this before on this is going to pick up quickly. So your total clicks is going to be about 6 to 7 clicks per day. So the next big number that you want to look at for what is it you do is conversion rate. This is really huge for you. Reason being is that you only have 7 clicks a day, and the conversion rate on your website where you're sending this traffic is going to convert those clicks into actual form submissions or phone calls to you. Does that make sense? So do you know that number? Like, out of 10 people that visit your site or 100 people that visit your site, how many people fill out a form?
I don't know.
We'll put in 10 round. It's a number that I like to use as a placeholder because it's a national performance average. It's called 10%. So that means that if you have, and let's do total clicks per day, total clicks per month, Google just doesn't want to play nice with me right now. You have 200 clicks per month because the cost per click is $5 at $1,000 per budget. You're going to get 200 clicks per month. Let's say 1 in 10 people who click on an ad fill out a form, which is not a lot. It's a low number. You're going to get 20 total leads. Okay. Now, the difference between Facebook leads and some of these other leads is that Google leads are very high intent. Example, when a toilet explodes, where do you go? Social media or Google? You go to Google to find the plumber. When people are ready to take action, they go to Google. The caveat is that Google is not cheap. Many therapists, solo practitioners can't afford $1,000 a month or more. So with that being said, what you really want to keep a close look at is how well these leads are converting. So sales rate, how many of these are turning into actual patients? When it comes to social media versus other sources, the sales rate for Google, especially for ads, tends to be higher because, again, we can focus on impact-based ads. And just like a quick snippet of what that looks like, making sure that we're not just looking at driving therapy clients, that we're looking at modality, service, and exact region area, and that we're geofencing and hyper focusing on the actual traffic we're driving, because we don't want to have any generalist click on our ads, because then it's going to spend our daily budget and then we're going to miss out on opportunities for people that we can truly help. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if your sales rate's 60% with $1,000 budget in Google Ads, let's put that here just for clarity. With these numbers, you would be able to net about 12 patients from it. And what that looks like, pull this up, is when somebody searches for a specific type of modality in a specific region, if you're trying to do local. Now, this does differ for online only. It's a different conversation entirely. But focusing on these individual areas will show your ad here. And then that's what people click to get to your website.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this click that happens on your ad right here goes to your website. And on your website, they are either calling from the ad directly, so they don't even actually go to the website. There's a number listed on the ad itself where they can call directly from Google, or they can go to the website and call you or submit a form through your website. So this is how Google Ads drives clients into your practice. If you were to spend $1,000 again, I highly recommend you do it in impact-based advertising with Google Ads. And the reason being is that you can invest this in a few different directions, but you're going to have a nominal impact, because if you spread this budget too thin, like if you only had $500 in Google Ads, you'd only get 3 clicks a day. And with a 10% conversion rate, you might get a lead every 3-4 days. Problem with that is that what if the cost per click is higher? What if the cost per click's 10 because you're in a more competitive region? So these numbers that you're playing with here have a big impact on the overall campaign. So with that being said, if you're going to run Google Ads, you can try to run it yourself, which I guess is affordable because you have to spend the ad budget. But the difference in trying to manage it yourself is just controlling the cost per click and trying to work on your website to improve your conversion rate. Many therapists don't have the time or skill sets to do that, which is when you would want to hire an agency, but only after you've explored these avenues. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're going to have a much better relationship with your next agency if you try to take that order. And if you're like, I know I don't want to do this, but I know what I want from them, then you're going to have a better relationship. Plus, if you ever want to hop on another call with me and just talk numbers, going to agencies with your numbers up front and being like, this is how much I'm making, this is how much budget I have, these are the amount of leads I expect, and these are the amount of clients that I need for this to even make sense for me to sign up with you. If you can't hit those expectations, then like, don't take me on as a client. If you go to an agency like that, you're going to be able to quickly root out who can and who can't perform. And the reason why most agencies fail to hit the mark in therapy is because they're doing generic advertising. They're just doing Google ads. They're just doing social ads. They're not thinking of the impact that the therapist is looking to have on their client. That is why we start with impact first thought process. What are you going to have the biggest impact so that you're happy, the clients are happy, and your practice is growing? That's really that's really where you want to have a state of mind at. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And especially just you saying to know these numbers before you have these meetings, because I just, when I go, I've been meeting with a lot of different people now because I want someone to help me with ads. And I feel like you even have to be very savvy going into these meetings, because a lot of these people like want to promise me all these things. And like, I feel like I could be gullible because I'm a little bit burnt out of just how many clients I need to see with insurance clients. So I'm like looking for kind of the savior.
Yeah.
Help me. So just like knowing these numbers, right? It's like this piece is so valuable of like just me being more of a like an informed person, business person, because that's why like I'm a huge fan of Kim's because she's such a phenomenal entrepreneur. And like I know I'm a great therapist, but like in terms of the entrepreneurial piece, I have a lot of learning to do.
Hey, McCall, I just wanted to mention that you are definitely not alone when it comes to a lack of transparency in all those numbers. This is one of the most important and challenging things for any business. Our agencies, including Kim's business, like, so that is,
Yeah.
you don't feel like you're way behind. Of course, to get the results you're seeking and to get a real, having that transparency is key. And so a huge part of what we help with in the beginning is, what are these numbers? How can we actually figure this out? And going back through and interpreting information that's already in an EHR or already in an account and helping you understand what has. And it's tough when you say, I literally got 0 results. Like, you spent money, something happened. And like you said, maybe there were leads generated. They were just very poorly aligned leads for you, but we have some data in there that we could. So our process is teasing out more data so that we have a baseline, and then trying to improve, like Mike's job when it comes to management, just try to get that cost per as low as possible, specifically for the right types of clients in the you want to target. And there's things we can add to start with. Oh, we're in Hawaii. Okay, well, that's probably going to be a bit higher cost, or hours in the Bay Area, super high cost per click because it's super competitive. Things like that. Oh, my close rate is only 30%. Well, maybe we need to do some coaching to make sure you those calls with more of a sales mindset and get another 10% of clients to actually send. Every single step of that funnel, from traffic generation, website conversion, how many people show up to calls that they see, how many calls turn into an actual new client. All of these things have data. If we can access that data, then we have more information that we need to figure out, well, what's first priority? And again, our main goal usually is traffic generation, optimizing that process. That's not enough. We want to continue move forward and help you look at those other numbers as well, because the goal is get as many clients as you want for the lowest cost possible and maximize that client lifetime value so that you can do the best work. So yeah, just wanted to share that, like, you're not alone. This is one of the most challenging pieces of the entire thing.
That really just helps a lot because, I've just, after this thing didn't work, I kind of got very, very down, and I feel at least this is a safe space to share that experience and get, some good solid. I mean, I'm excited by just even thinking about hiring a VA and marketing to doctors, or even just, thinking about trying Google ads. But I feel hopeful again after this. So
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah. And again, when things don't go well, it's easy to shift in that black and white thinking. And that's one of the reasons I love working with Mike, because he is numbers driven. There's some separation there. He helps me to go through the process, because there's been things that I've tried too, where it's like, well, how did it work? Well, it didn't work at all. Nothing worked. 0 results. Well, clearly that's not true. But from that emotional perspective, like, I just burned through a lot of cash. I don't even know how much, but I know that it didn't give me the results I'm seeking. It's easy to say, well, none of this worked at all. Having someone that's impartial, that has the tool set to go in and extract that data, can be really helpful.
Yeah. That's cool. I'm glad that we went through that. And thanks for being so brave to share, because I'm the same way. I mean, I'm terrible with numbers. Like, if Chris would have asked me today, or Mike, like, what's your number? I'm like, I have no clue. I'm really bad with that stuff. We're therapists. We don't know numbers, really. I mean, some do, like Kevin and Harvey seem to really know their numbers, but most of us are like, I don't know. I just want to help people. So I think that's happened to me on Facebook. I've lost a lot of money trying to do that too. So, just to say,
okay.
Yeah. So,
but things are feeling scarce to shift back in that generalist mindset. Like, I'll work with anybody I can. And that's a trap that we've both experienced in our agencies through time. At the beginning, when I started years ago, I will take a marketing job from anybody. And if you will do work for anybody, then you're not the best for anybody either. That's the real message that people receive. And, then it was a process of what is the niche that I really want to focus on. And, I'll do auto body shops because I like cars. Well, it turns out I don't like working with those clients. And after time went by, it's like, well, I have a lot of therapy clients already. I enjoy this space because I've gained so much from this work. And then it just kind of hit me upside the head one day. Like I need to dedicate my entire agency to therapists and wellness providers. And I'm going to go all in on that specific thing and learn as much as I can about that specific space. And yeah, perhaps I limited myself because I'm not talking to anybody in the world. But in reality, the success has grown because of how specific it's become. So I love the fact that you have like multiple layers of specificity. It's I used to do e-commerce. We'd sell t-shirts and stuff. And the idea of selling t-shirts is crazy because if you have a shirt that's the best kind of mom is a mom of a nurse in Philadelphia. And like, it's perfect for like 1,000 people. But those 1,000 people, when they see that shirt, they're like, the shirt for me. It's just a silly example.
Exactly.
The more nuanced we can and specific we can actually translate to significantly higher close rates. Because you can imagine if someone found your website and you listed all of those specific details and then aligned with them, they're like, oh my God, this is my person. Thank goodness I found it. This is every single thing about me. It's fine.
Anyone at all who can hop on the mic. You don't have to hop on the camera. Zena, if you can hop on audio, that would also help us.
Yes, I'm here.
So, Zena, hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
What's the name of your practice?
It's just my name. I'm just transitioning from a group practice to my own practice in 2 weeks, so I'm barely starting, and it's just going to be my name, Dr. Zena.
Okay, excellent. So you yourself and you have no staff because you're just moving to your own
Correct.
practice. Okay. So your weekly caseload, your goal you said was 25.
I'm trying to figure that out. That's kind of why I'm here. But yeah, I would say 25 would be ideal. It seems like it's going to be more if I'm solely insurance based. But yeah, 25 would be ideal.
Okay.
And currently I have, I'm starting out with like 13. Those are all insurance based, not cash pay.
These are all insurance based. We'll dive into the insurance nuance once we get past the core numbers, because that is important, because outside of, client count, there's revenue, but we are focused on this one, just specific client. So with that being said, how many clients do you have currently?
I'm starting out with 13.
And how many weekly sessions do you have?
It's going to be, as of right now, 13.
Okay. So you meet with your clients.
Now, the clients that are transferring with me from my group practice, is going to be like 20, but they're not all scheduled yet. So right now I have a current weekly caseload of 20. The clients is 20, caseload 13.
So do these numbers look accurate?
Yes.
Okay, good. So your target weekly session growth is 12 more sessions per week, correct?
Yes.
All right, great. So now caseload by service. What services do you offer?
I offer the depression therapy, couples is my specialty, marriage counseling. I don't do child and teen. And I will be offering EMDR, but not yet because I'm not trained yet, but probably next year.
Okay, got it. So with that being said, how many sessions of depression therapy do you provide a week?
Hard to say. Let's say a third of the case.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you group the way that you look at the services you provide by patient or by how many sessions you provide of that service?
I think how many sessions I provide, because I do individuals and couples, I'm probably seeing about half my caseload is couples right now.
Okay. So if half your caseload is couples, that would mean that you were about 6 or 7 sessions per week of couples, and then 7 Russian therapy?
Yeah.
That would be correct. All right, great. And those are your 2 main services that you offer, correct?
Correct.
And for everyone on the call, I wanted to point out this chart here on the right. What's important about this is furthering this discussion downline. There's a lot of different ways that therapists can generate revenue outside of just looking at online versus in person, insurance versus cash based, modality expansion. As you had said, you're looking into EMDR. One times intensives are very popular because you can get a lot done in a very short amount of time. And sometimes that's what people want. That's what people have. That's what they need. And then also expansion of new services and new other items as in assets or different types of things that you can get people involved in with revenue as far as groups or as far as training or even one-page PDFs. There's a lot of different ways that you can expand what it is that you do outside of just direct client assistance. So I wanted to point this chart out. Remember this for later. So you said that you do bi-weekly. Was that correct? Did I get that incorrect?
No, weekly. I have the 13 right now. Like I said, I'm just starting out, so I'm probably not the best person to be an example. There's probably going to be a bunch of bi-weekly, but these clients haven't. The ones that I'm giving you are the ones that are scheduled. So there's more to be scheduled, and I'm probably going to have bi-weekly, but right now these are weekly.
These are weekly. The reason I asked that real quick, and I know that you had said that you're just getting started and these numbers might not match up. So I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page because this is what this tool is helpful for. One thing, and I can speak to this personally myself because I help people with this. So, I always take care of this at the end of the day for my business at the very, very end, hopefully, is that looking at the numbers versus how you feel about your business is really important because it gives you an understanding from a third person perspective so that you can hit these goals objectively without feeling inundated with how can I get there and it's not working and those other types of natural struggles that occur in any person's professional career growth. So quick example of that is you said you had 20 clients and your frequency is weekly. That would bring your current weekly session growth to 20. But you had mentioned that your current weekly was 13. So are some bi-weekly and some weekly?
So I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly. So I'm transferring about probably 20 to 25 people from group practice to individual. Only 13 have transferred so far, but 20 to 25 people have said, yes, I'm going to follow. So I don't know if that makes sense, but.
Totally. Yeah, no, I understand. I understand like the now versus the soon. Let's focus on the now just for clarity because it can get confusing.
Okay.
Thank you, by the way, for that. I appreciate you. Yeah. As far as the caseload by service, we have that correct as well. So now we have our sessions good to go, and we have our frequency is correct. Everything matches up now. The reason why we do this again is so that we can dive into those details and just make sure that we have those numbers correct. Otherwise, we might not be correct with our goal numbers at the end. So, new client inquiries. This also might not occur for you because you're getting so many transfers from your current practice and you have a new one that you haven't even had a chance to receive new inquiries for your new business yet. So let me ask you this. You said just hypothetically, because the numbers will still fit, I think you have 13, 20 coming over totally. So that would put you at 7 new clients for next month is like what you're thinking you're going to have.
Yeah.
So let's just hypothetically say the average close rate for new requests to people who become patients is actually, let's put this in the chat. I'd like to get everyone else's feedback on this. This is just one number. Last month or whatever comes to mind out of how many people reach out to you, like 1 in 10, how many people become patients? If you have 10 people reach out, do 5 become patients? If 10 people request services for therapy, do you have 3 clients come out of that? 25%, realistic number. Thank you, Dr. Marsh. Anyone else? 6 reached out last month, 2 became clients. 20%, again, good range. 90%, okay. All right, you're going to have to do a webinar next and show us how you did that. 75%, great job, Jen. These are a great range of numbers, by the way. We have some highs and some lows. Kevin, what's your number? I know you got that number.
18 out for October so far. It's 18 new patients out of 38 reach outs.
Out of 30 total?
38 inquiries.
Okay. So a little less than 50%. I'd imagine if you had sources of leads coming in at that volume over time, they would all even out from the low closing to the high closing source rates. I'd like to imagine that 90 to 75%, probably a little bit of referral mixed in there.
This is from all sources. It's hard to track everything that detailed, but yeah, the percent returning rate is 81%. So people who within the day range come back again.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to just do a little trick live because why not? Kim is a big proponent for AI, as am I. So I figured I'd just dump everybody's answers, average the percentage close rates out. Kevin, let's say you're at 45%. And let the AI think. So as far as the actual close rates or for new inquiries, the next part about this is platforms. I'd like to hear some people in the chat. Where are you getting your current new leads? What's your number one source? Is it directories like Psychology Today, platforms like BetterHelp? Is it organic through SEO, referrals from your network, networking? Leah, I wish you could hop on the mic. I'd love to hear about your networking. Psychology Today is number one. Great, Jen. Jen, what's your budget on Psychology Today, if you don't mind me asking, because there is a lot of things that you can invest on that platform. I'd like to hear what you're investing in there. Wow. Okay, Harvey. SEO, number one. You don't always get to hear that. Love to hear that. Harvey, if you don't mind me asking, what is your current patient load?
Well, I have a group practice. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I have a group practice. So my individual is about a dozen a week, but the practice does about, let me do the math in my head. We're doing about 700 a month, 725 a month.
Sessions or patients?
Sessions.
Okay. Yeah, no, you and Kevin, it almost makes me want to already preemptively plan the webinar for the group practice section of this. Because as you can see in the chat, we have Psychology Today as a top driver, which is great for getting to that top range to where you can start investing in other marketing budget. Because Psychology Today is the lowest barrier to entry, but SEO overall will always drive more traffic than anything because there's no cap at how much traffic you can drive to your website outside of how many searches there are on the internet. If you're number one for a keyword, the only limit is how many people are interested in that service per day. So you can definitely get a lot of volume from SEO. SEO, big time. Getting to the SEO investment as an individual therapist, there's a bit of a pathway there. So with that being said, let me jump back in real quick and make sure I got that number right. 49%, almost. Thank you, by the way, Harvey. So as far as sources go, the point of this map is to map out how much the investment is per source when generating those 20 inquiries per month, right? So does anybody know in the chat how much it costs for them to acquire a client? Now, this is a difficult number. This takes a little bit of figuring out how much you paid for marketing for last month and how many leads you got total. That's your cost per lead. And then how many people turned into clients, how much that number is. Does anybody have that number? And if not, you can go ahead and put a T in the chat and we'll go through that as well. The average for a fully, we have a question from Dr. Marsh. Do we know the average for a fully virtual practice? Love that question. The thing about virtual is very interesting, the way that it can scale. If you're just trying to do solo, you're competing against the big companies. But if you have a budget that you can compete against them and scale with it, then there's a lot of opportunity. Good point, Chris. We can definitely stay focused on Zena for now. I just wanted to ask some questions in the chat. Thank you always, Chris. So Zena, back to you. You had clients moving over. You have 13, you're going to have 20 by next month. That's 7. We had the average conversion rate of 49% across the chat. So let's just go ahead and predict that you had about 15 leads come in last month. And let's do some hypotheticals here based off of the chat as well. We had some Psych Today as number 1. So we're going to just plug in some numbers here. Dr. Marsh, again, great with the numbers. Love it. Harvey, Kevin, do you have that number off the top of your head, how much it costs to get a new patient?
That one I don't have. That's hard to calculate for me.
One of the problems we've had is be able to get accurate feedback on where the client's coming from. Because a lot of times the client will say online, so we don't know if it's psychology or the website. Sometimes clients that I have no idea. And sometimes it's been hard to get real solid numbers on where they're coming from.
When I look at October, for example, across 56 billable appointments, so this is after a consult, 8 were no referral source. 16 plus 8, I can't do math right this second, but 16 plus 8, whatever that is, was Google or web search. Psychology Today was 5. And then it goes down to different ones. But there's also some organic so referrals within that as well. It's just once you get to higher numbers, a lot of people don't fill in stuff. So it starts to skew things.
I wanted to give some quick insight to the individual therapist in the room right now. Kevin, how much time do you spend and how much have you invested just making sure that you can have those numbers ready in front of you?
Truthfully, not very much. I use Jane app for clinic management. So it's a question of just knowing which reports to pull and just the information's there. ChatGPT, I'm learning more of how that helps with analyzing spreadsheets to save me a lot of time on it. And I pay a company that does the Google ads for me and website stuff, but the actual time is minimal. That's what I outsource to other people.
Fantastic. So a few key takeaways there is getting to the point to where figuring out whatever you can do to outsource, even if it's small things, definitely helps. Just even if it's a very small thing, getting practice of doing that and finding someone online, even if it's for $10, $20 a week, is a very big key in helping manage your business, because the other side of that is automating things in your business. And if you're not very technical, that could be something that's difficult, but also is very hireable. There's things that you can do to automate certain aspects of your business. I love the spreadsheet and ChatGPT conversation. Those are definitely things that you can help with tying those things in with automation. With that being said, I did want to dive back in for Zena, just so we can get through the rest of this calculation. As far as the overall investment in Psych Today, and I did want to mention, quick bonus, we have a system that can link a calendar directly to Psych Today. So if you pay extra through Psych Today, it opens up an ability to link a calendar, which can help you better understand your cost per lead from Psych Today. So that's something, if you're interested in that, feel free to reach out and I can point you in the right direction for that as well. So as far as inquiries, let me go ahead and update these numbers a bit. I guess my calculation might be a little bit off, but we'll move on to the next spot here. As far as inquiries to close rates, we have that here. We had, probably the next thing I wanted to discuss with everyone is understanding churn rate. When trying to come up with a growth goal of ideal amount of patients, it's really important to understand that you don't only have to get as many patients as you're looking to hit, you actually have to overshoot that goal a little bit based off of how many patients you're losing. And why people can end practice is because they are treated, or maybe they've moved, or they have found a new provider, or they have simply canceled and you are not sure why. So with that being said, I was going to ask in the chat, what is everybody's average client cancellation per month? How many clients do you lose per month? And if you don't lose a client every month, do you lose a client every 2 months, every 3 months? Zena, do you have that number?
Are you saying cancellations as in the person like cancels one session or just drops out completely?
Drops out completely.
Yeah, actually. Maybe per month. I'd say like I've lost maybe one client in 3 months.
So about a 0.3. Bring out some decimals on that one. Good job, by the way, on that. Retention there is key. So that would bring your quote unquote churn rate to 9%, which is fine. It's just a number. There shouldn't be any feelings associated with it, because in work and in life, this happens.
Right.
But understanding this number is key to knowing what your actual growth rate is, because if you don't factor this into what you're planning, then you might get far along and say, hey, I thought I would have been farther along with my overall revenue based off of this effort. So getting this up front is key to setting the correct expectation to the journey that you're on. So now we're at the summary of the discussion, and this is where we can start diving into anybody else's questions on how this works. Based off of those questions, I'm going to discuss this, and Gina, tell me if this is right or wrong. Okay. I think we got to change the total team member goal. That's one thing that's something I digest. So you have yourself, you and yourself. Do you have a target for additional therapists, or are you just trying to do a solo?
No, I think I want to do solo for the first year and then maybe go into group. If it becomes, if I get a large amount of referrals.
Okay. So you'd rather hit your caseload goal first before adding anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're currently offering 2 services, and those 2 services, I'm going to scroll back up again and just check on them, is depression and couples and marriage therapy, correct?
Yeah. Out of the categories you listed, yeah.
Is there anything that's not listed?
I mean, I work with chronic mental health. I work with personality disorders, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we got the total numbers. We'll leave those in those buckets.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Okay. We'll use that 2 for now. So your total current clients, looks like we have that. And your goal current clients, just plugging these numbers in for you, is 20. 1 second. And your goal weekly caseload is 25. And you're going to be doing weekly sessions with everyone. That's the plan, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
There's going to be some that are biweekly, but right now the 13 are weekly.
All right, great. So we have some different client sources. We have different inquiries coming in. And then you also have signups and cancellations. So the way that this works is if you have new inquiries coming in last month and how many people signed up, this is what your close rate. Your close rate should be at a cancellation of 0.3. If you're netting that, then you would be able to grow exponentially, honestly. So with that being said, what is your date range plan for this? Are you planning on just getting your 20 clients in next week and then being capped? Because what's your time, your time frame on this? How many months?
So I don't want to take up the group's time because that's kind of a long answer. Basically, I'm trying to figure out how many clients I need to see. And I would ideally like to see 25, but I feel like it's going to be way more because at this moment, I don't have any cash pay clients. It's all insurance. And so I'm starting November 4th with these amount of clients that we've discussed and have to keep adding and advertising and all that. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm concerned that I might have to go to 30 or 35 until I get cash pay. 30 to 35 caseload of insurance until I get more cash pay clients. And it seems like people here have cash pay practices, so I'm very curious as to.
Yeah. How about in the chat? A ratio of cash pay versus insurance pay, 80%, 20%. What is everyone's ratio between 80-20? All cash pay. Great. Excellent. Love the engagement. Wanted to say shout out to Kim for fostering such an awesome community of people from all levels that can come together and have takeaways from these webinars. That's outstanding.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, everybody.
That's outstanding. So as far as advertising channels as well, that is one thing I did want to jump into and cover when it comes to cash pay versus insurance, just to get some quick insight on that. I'm going to pull up various here. 1 quick second. Now, with new client sources and growth in general, I try to make sure that whatever we do is impact focused when we're trying to build these programs out for therapists. And what I mean by that is understanding who the therapist is or who the group practice is and who the therapists are in that group practice and where they are going to make the biggest impact. Because at the end of the day, what everyone wants to take home is that they made the biggest impact on their clients. I feel the same way about my clients. And the reality is it's a mixed bag sometimes with marketing. Sometimes you really don't know what kind of client's going to come in and ask for service next. And you find yourself providing services that you weren't intending to provide, or services that you know you can provide, but you would prefer to provide something else. And that was really where cash pay and insurance factor in. By using targeted campaigns, not from a just, this is my avatar, this is who I want, but looking at where you can have the biggest impact and starting from there is really key. And that's especially important if you're working with a marketing company. Kevin, you had mentioned you're working with one, that they understand the impact that your therapists are having on their patients, so that when they're doing advertising, they know exactly what they're driving and how it's going to more beneficially impact your practice. And as an example of that, if you're doing online paid advertising, which includes anything like Google ads, Bing ads, YouTube ads, banner ads, remarketing, social ads, anything paid advertising, you would never want to do anything general. You would only want to focus on looking at where you as the therapist can have the biggest impact and only pay for that. One of the biggest traps people get into is therapist near me. That's a great keyword to bid on because you really can't do SEO for the keyword near me. You can only show up on maps. The reality is Google gives you the ability to bid on exactly and only the ideal client that you want to deal with. If you're a psychologist, it can be patient. If you're a therapist, it's more client-based. So as far as using these marketing tools, some can be general. As an example, Psychology Today. If you have a directory listing, you don't necessarily, as an individual practitioner, need to pay for all the bells and whistles of Psychology Today. But as time progresses, there are features that it adds that will get you more exposure from the same benefits that you've had from Psychology Today. What those features are, we can dive deeper into if you want to reach out, but I have a little bit of a guide that I'm putting together for just exercising the most value from this platform. This is more of a generalist scenario. With paid, what you're able to do is drive exactly the type of client that you're looking for. And to circle back to the initial point of this, cash pay versus insurance. Some people don't mind doing insurance, but if you could do 100% cash pay and name your price and still have a positive impact and contribute to what you do as a professional, then a lot of people would opt into having more income because that gives you more opportunity to provide a bigger impact. So when you're doing paid media in any facet, always make sure that it's 100% targeted, not towards anything general or anything that's loose, but that it's geared towards exactly what you're trying to provide. And while we're on the topic of marketing, I wanted to kind of just real quick, because Kim does speak about AI. One thing that's really interesting about SEO that's really going to change in the next year and two are AI-based results. I'm sure everyone's seen those in Google. And if not, if you hop on google.com and search, eventually Google will start using AI to generate results. It's kind of funny because it's effectively just the same thing that they were already doing, but they call it AI because it's AI like summarized. But in reality, it's going to link back to a website. Wherever they pull the snippet that's generated from AI links back to a website. So making sure that you're prepared for when this shift happens is important, because when, it's not a matter of if, but when ChatGPT or similar company releases a search GPT service, it is going to have a big impact on SEO. Also, voice search, map search, organic. People are less familiar with voice search, but as Apple becomes more advanced with AI and Siri gets more baked into AI, it's going to become a more powerful service. So making sure that your website and your online presence is optimized for SEO for voice search is important. And of course, the two means of the average human, which is the vast majority of people, maps and organic. These ones are, of course, these are things you should be investing in as you grow. As a small practice, as someone who's just getting started, like i.e. Xena, I wouldn't necessarily recommend SEO because you have such a strong referral source that you're already going to have a patient load. And if you don't have that, then you wouldn't need paid or organic because you already have your sustainability when it comes to clients coming from your other practice. Before I jump into the next thing, I just want to ask, is anybody getting any value out of this? Are you learning something new? Is there anything that you have any questions or that you're curious about?
I think it's very helpful. It's a lot of information. It's going to take me a while to think through all this.
Absolutely. The benefit too, guys, real quick, and I train my team on this, is this video recording has a transcript. And maybe some of this video makes sense to you, some of it doesn't, some of it's interesting, some of it might not make sense yet. What I recommend is once you get this video recording, go ahead and share it for sure to your professional network and let them know that Kim does these webinars all the time and they're awesome. But secondly, grab the transcript, copy and paste it into ChatGPT and just hit enter. You don't have to type anything. Just copy and paste the transcript, put it in the ChatGPT, and it'll start showing you what it can do if you're not familiar with it yet. And from there, ask it questions like, what was that one thing he said about like organic or paid or something? And it'll pull up the timestamp on the video and a summary of what was talked about. So if this is not your typical lunch break webinar, make sure that you can use those tools like I just told you to turn this into something that can be a long-term tool, because we did cover a lot on this call. Now, with that being said, Kevin, who needs no introduction, please, love for you to jump back on and just kind of run through some more of your numbers and ask any questions you have and see what we can do to help.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm a bit lost now then. I came with numbers and stuff prepared. I'm not sure what.
Yeah. Do you want to run them through the spreadsheet, Mike, and give them suggestions on,
absolutely.
I think, okay.
Or if you want, we could do it another time also, if you're looking at more of a clinic focused webinar.
That's really what the focus of this was, but I'd love to plug your numbers in and just see what comes out. So how many therapists do you have?
7.
How many intake specialists do you have?
We all do our own intake. There's an admin person who does help with that, like the initial contact, but therapists do the intake.
And you have one marketing agency. Do you have any other marketing staff?
Yeah. One part-time contractor who does Instagram, and Kumoy, who's sitting behind me, who does TikTok.
Okay. Awesome. So we'll put 3 in there. So you have 11 team members total.
Wow. I guess I do.
Well, you also excluded yourself, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that. What is
Yeah, I'm in the therapist part.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
You know, if you're admin and therapist and marketing. So how many clients do you have currently?
Over what time period?
Last 30 days.
Okay. I should go back to different reports. In October, let's say, so just September.
Yeah, September would be good.
We had a total of 81 patients.
Weekly caseload.
You can divide that by 7 just to make it easy right now. Oh, sorry, that's total visits were 134.
Total visits, okay, 134.
This is why it's a bit different, right? Divided by 7 people.
Oh, this divided by 7 people?
Well, the weekly caseload, yeah, it depends. If you're looking at the individual level, or are you talking about the clinic level?
Clinic.
Yeah, 134.
Okay.
And probably would like to get up to about 200, I would guess, which would make sense, I guess.
Perfect. And what services are you offering?
Play therapy. You can change, make depression, just to make it easier so you don't have to change too many things. Adult
therapy?
Yep. This is how we characterize them or categorize them. There's teen, child, couples. Parent coaching is a standalone, which is just a new thing we're offering right now. And family therapy is starting in about 4 to 6 weeks. EMDR we have, but it's not advertised as a standalone right now. So that can come out for now.
So we'll leave those at 0. How many sessions in play therapy do you have per week?
One sec. That's the other report.
And you're getting all those from Jane, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just clicking different reports and just changing dates. So in September, just one sec.
Sure.
Okay. It's a bit of a mess the way we have it because we have it based on different price points also. I'll give you numbers. You can add them in as a formula. Like in Excel, you would do like equals whatever plus, plus, plus. For teen, it'd be 15 plus 11 plus 3 plus 1.
How are you getting those numbers?
Jane has a product report, performance report. So therefore it does it by the session type. So because an online session is different than an in-person one, it shows up twice. And we have 3 different price points, depending if it's an intern, a graduated therapist, or a senior therapist. So then it's actually 6 per age group, potentially. So that's why you have to do it this way. Play therapy is 3.
3
Adult
plus.
therapy.
Oh, just 3.
It's just 3. Yeah, that's not a big offering right now, which surprised me. Adult therapy would be 11 plus 11 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3.
Are you trying to hypnotize me right now?
Yeah. And that's it. Parent coaching would be 1. That's a new standalone. Family therapy is 0. That's coming in the future. Couples in marriage would be 2. Teen we already did, right? That's the first one we did, I think. And child is 13 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2, and that's it.
So you're offering 5 total services, 96 sessions out of these. Not enough to match the current weekly session case. We are about 40 sessions off and 5 minutes left. Hey, Kevin, you know what I'm thinking?
There's some stuff that's missing. Like some things I don't include. Like again, this is on the fly. It's a bit hard to match everything.
Exactly. Let's me and you. I'd love to just if you would like to hop on and actually dial this in for you specifically, because the output of this, the whole point of this exercise, everyone on the call, is so that when you're looking to grow your impact, that not only can you do it through what you're currently doing and just maximizing what you're focused on, but also to make sure that you're hitting other mediums. And one of the big things that I wanted to make sure that people knew about, and this is something that we're going to talk about in the mastermind that I'm going to offer. One of the major things that a lot of therapists and professionals get to is wanting to contribute and leave a legacy. And a part of what we do with building companies is not just help them grow and get more leads to get more clients, but also make sure that we can help them automate what it is that they do in their business. So that as they decide that they want to grow, or if they want to just be active in the community, that the time that it would take 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, an hour a day, over time, that turns into hundreds of hours over the span of a career. And automating different aspects of your business as you grow your business is key, especially for solo practitioners. But if you're looking to go from solo to group or just scale your group, making sure that every system that you're spending time on is as automated as possible. When those systems are in place, you're able to focus on things like building these types of assets, which we can assist with as well. The point of this is that once you hit a certain cap or a ceiling, what can you do as a therapist? When you stop seeing your last client, what is your impact thereafter? It ends with that client group, unless you're able to put together some type of asset that can last beyond your career. Not only that, but putting those assets together shouldn't be a retirement goal. It should be a right now goal, because with all the tools and software that we have access to, you can convert your experience, even if it is limited. If you feel that you have imposter syndrome because you're just getting started at your first couple of years, it's okay. You've learned plenty in those first couple of years that someone who's just getting started would love to have probably known. So putting those together in a 1 or 2 pager and having those assets ready, even if for free to give away, is something that you can do to build your base, help you land clients that are looking in a competitive market, and also solidify your legacy. And the assets that you can put together can help. And if you have a lot of experience doing an ebook, is something that I highly recommend, or making a series, because with AI and the tools that there are out there, producing this shouldn't be 100-hour grueling process. And when you have these, you seem more validated. And at that point too, you can reach outside of your border of where you're licensed at and help people in other states or even potentially around the world. And as of today, Therapy PPC has active clients that do have reach that is nationally and also international, because of courses, content, subscriptions, and things of that nature, that when you put those items together, they don't require more work. It's already done. And you can perpetuate that income throughout your career. So with all that being said, the very last thing I wanted to end with is we're going to be doing a mastermind. The intention was to focus on individual therapists first, but just based off of this conversation, I'm sure that there'll be some group practices that we should probably break out on a separate call. The point of that mastermind is for everyone to dive deeper into their individual numbers, to hop on and to share information, and also to share resources and guides. And the takeaway from that is to set aside not just a timeline, but a budget that you should be ready to set aside in order to hit that goal. So just like when you go to the gym and you're trying to lose a certain amount of weight, this is the exact same type of a process. And it's very nuanced into each individual person that we work with, which is why we're only limited to 5 people per group. We're going to do 5 people per week. And during that week, we're going to support and provide as much as possible to make sure that everybody can get what it is that they need. And I just want to say thank you again, Kim, for hopping on. Is there anything else that I could dive into for anyone?
Yeah, Mike, could you like go through the end of the spreadsheet and just give a hypothetical, like, because I think the point of the spreadsheet at the end is to see, like, based on your numbers, this is the projection of ad spend, right? Or how much you might have to spend to get to your average client per week or per month, right? Was that the end result of the spreadsheet?
Yes,
so I don't know if anybody saw. We didn't get to the end of it. So it's just, is there like a hypothetical, like based on the numbers we already have in, to just like show them the end result of that spreadsheet?
Yes. This is going to vary a little bit because of some of the mixed numbers in there.
Because I think the whole point of this is, for this group, is to learn, like, okay, here's my number. First of all, I got to look at my numbers. Second, once I've looked at them, what can I actually do to bring more clients into my practice and offer more value and retention rates even? And then I'm hearing you say like alternative income streams and that sort of thing, which is great. The point of the spreadsheet is to basically see like, okay, this is how much I need to invest to be able to grow this much with these different outlets, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Well, this would be the end of the snapshot. I know that this, we had some nuanced numbers go in. And that's also kind of the fun thing about this space, is that all therapists have a different story and a different journey and a different pathway. Some people are coming from group practices and turning solo, some are staying solo, some are going solo to groups, some are scaling groups, and everybody in those nuances, like Kevin had said, he has different pricing tiers based off of different levels of experience between therapists at his group practice. There's just so many different dynamic pieces that it is interesting building a tool like this because of those nuances. But with that being said, this is what the end result looks like when we go through your individual numbers. The idea is it'll map out the result of how many clients you got last month, how many cancellations you're typically having, and then the clients that you're gaining per month, and the additional sessions coming from that, this being the frequency. So if you're doing weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, and it's going to show you how many months and days until you hit that target and how much you would need to spend in order to obtain that new client. This is,
and spend through all means, basically, like ads only, or like Psychology Today, and like all of those different things put together.
All those different things put together, correct.
Okay. That's awesome. You do free calls and whatnot. If they got on with you, you could actually walk them through with their numbers. They come to the table with their numbers and explain, this is exactly how much you need to spend to acquire 20 new clients this month or something like that.
Yeah. So what we're turning this into basically an exercise where we're going to do this in groups, and we're also going to provide one-on-ones. So cool. I'll put out more information in the group for people to sign up for those. And Yeah, main goal
Yeah.
is just making sure that people have these numbers together and that they have this tool so that as they progress down that line, that they can update the numbers in this and make sure that, hey, am I spending the right amount of money? And I wanted to give a quick snippet on that. This tool, I know we went through a lot of questions. There's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of information. The main takeaway is this: how much it costs to get a new client. If you have these numbers, then that's really all you need to keep pulse with.
Gotcha.
It's gonna show.
Okay.
It's like, okay, well, I want 3 more clients this month. How much is it going to cost? Well, 3 times 170.
Mm-hmm. And this is helpful too for being able to like set your rates even. If you know you're having to spend that much to get a client, how much do your rates need to be to help you stay afloat and not go bankrupt, basically trying to advertise your practice and get more new clients, right?
Exactly. And it's a motivation too to do the things like I mentioned. And it's also motivation if you're trying to get off of insurance based and you want to move more towards cash pay. When you use impact based mentality with advertising budget, whether you're running ads yourself, which is really key. And if you're spending money yourself, you don't want to waste that money because that could be an opportunity cost somewhere else. So if you're in that monthly income range of, 1,500 to 5,000, you're running ads yourself, just be very careful to make sure that you're doing income. Don't do anything generic. Only speak to your core people, because when you have a bigger impact with them, they're going to get better treatment. You're going to be more fulfilled. They're going to refer more people to you, and work and life will just feel better. It's the trap that a lot of businesses, not just therapists, get into is just taking any customer that comes in the front door, quote unquote. And you have to be careful when running ad spend to not keep that that perspective. And same thing with psychology today. They allow you to nuance who you're targeting for a little bit of extra money. That little bit of extra money can go a long way if it's matching you with someone who is your best possible outcome client.
Yeah. And we talk about this a lot too in the clinical AI club, using ChatGPT to really nail that niche and be able to base this stuff on your really nailed niche. So even if you have like different populations, children and all that sort of thing, you really need to be clear on who you're targeting before you even get started with this stuff for spending, and I know, Mike, you've helped me kind of like target my niche a little bit more and get really specific with that stuff. So I just want to put that out and make it clear too, like start with the niche, figure that out, and then use these tools and cost per client based on that really dialed in niche that you're doing. Yeah. And then it looks like Chris has dropped Mike's website here if you guys want to talk with him. And
anybody at all sizes of business. I just quick snippet on me. I've been building tech and marketing companies for 300 years. It feels like almost 16 years since 2008. And I've spent over $250 million on Google ads and dozens of industries, worked with multiple Fortune 500 companies. Really passionate about therapy PC because I'm able to help people that are having a positive impact on the community and just people in general. And if I can amplify a therapist effort or a group practices effort, the positive impact that they can have is amplified. And I might not be a therapist, so I can't help people directly, but I'm really good on the computer. And if I can use my skill sets to benefit society, then I got to help the people that are boots on the ground, making the biggest impact right then and there. If you do schedule a call with me, just know that every call that I have is completely custom to your scenario. There's boilerplate off the shelf with us. It's always about what your goals are, what you need, what your timeline is. And then the recommendations are very straightforward. And then if you want to break down all your numbers, we can schedule that as well. And I'll send out more information to the group about the mastermind, but I really would like to have a small group, like some of the engagers on this chat today, jump in that mastermind, because I have a big treasure chest of all different types of resources and strategies and examples of ads and active campaigns running that I could help with giving guidance for people who are just trying to figure out how to get to the next level.